This is probably going to be one of the longest videos I have done for two reasons. One, it's been a long time. And two, I really haven't got my breathing back to where it's supposed to be. But I couldn't let another day or month go by without me saying something on Facebook. I first want to say thank you guys for wishing me happy birthday. That turned into prayers for my life. COVID hit me by surprise. This is the longest part of this video that I'm going to tell you probably would be, is that it's real. It's definitely real. I don't mind being a long time on here because if you're a part of Mama Easy, you're going to listen. But back in November, it was actually Thanksgiving, when they had said everybody quarantined at home. I think the last time I talked to you guys, I had said that I was going to spend Thanksgiving by myself because of the quarantine. I have an 84-year-old mother who, you guys know, last year we had to bury my dad and my sister within 2 weeks apart. So Thanksgiving was hard for her this coming year, 2020. So my brother had Thanksgiving at his house and he invited her to come. Well, she went and he had more than just her there. He had Thanksgiving. Well, his wife was a nurse or works in the medical field, and she had brought home COVID that weekend. So my mom, she watched the fight that was on that Saturday, and then she came home that Sunday. She had called me that Monday, asked, did I cook? I told her, yeah. She said, would you bring me some macaroni and cheese? So I knew, she told me she was feeling sick that night, though, when she got over to my brother's house. So I knew to stay away from her because she was sick. Didn't know what it might have been. I never expected her to have COVID. But I went to her house and I dropped off the mac and cheese, and I didn't stay, not even 5 minutes. But when I got to the door, and actually I wore my mask out of my own place, but then when I got to her house, I jumped out of my car with the macaroni and cheese, and I didn't put my mask on. So when I went to her house, I put a macaroni and cheese on her stove, and I told her, I can't stay with you because, you know, you were sick, and I don't want to get sick. But then I thought about my son. He had put this video up, or put a picture of him up with all his hair was shaved off, and he looked like my brother. So we were laughing. I said, let me show you a picture of PJ and with his hair shaved off. So I gave her my phone. And when she saw the picture, she laughed and I laughed. It could not have been no more than 3 seconds I was in her presence. I went home, with the phone. I went home, I think 3 days later, that Wednesday, because that was on Monday. Tuesday was 2 days later, on that Wednesday, I started feeling sick. But I thought it was like a cold, and I was to fly out on the 6th of December to go to Austin to visit my son. We was gonna do some videos. So that Wednesday, I started feeling sick, and my brother she called me and said my brother said for her to go get tested because his wife was positive for COVID. So she went. Results came back and she was positive for COVID. Still not thinking that it got me because I'm thinking I wasn't near her. I forgot all about the picture on the phone. Anyway, that Wednesday, when I started feeling sick, I thought it was just a regular old cold because I went to Walmart. I got some over-the-counter stuff, took it, felt better. But with my mom being sick, I'm thinking, wow, you know. So I prayed and I said, Lord, you know, if I'm going to get sick and I'm going to Austin, some kind of way cancel the trip because I the next day, Thursday, I felt good. But I still prayed. I said, some kind of way I'm going to be sick. Cancel the trip. Everything was going good. Friday, good. Saturday, good. Started making arrangements to fly out the next morning on Sunday, which is, I think, Sunday the 6th. That evening, I get a call from Berlizzi, and he says, Mom, I don't think you should come because I'm just not feeling filming. And I'm like, not feeling filming? Oh, you know, I said, you get out there, you'll be okay. I'm thinking once he sees his mama, he gonna laugh. You know, we're gonna have some fun. Oh, don't worry about it, son. My flight flies out tomorrow morning. No, Mom, I'm just not feeling it, though. And I'm like, wow. So I said, bitch, my ticket is already paid for. He said, oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. And so I hear ching ching in my account. And there's more than enough money that I pay for my ticket. So, I mean, who can argue with that? So I said, okay, we'll do it again. So we hung up the phone. All was good. Sunday, I was talking to my daughter, and I felt so sick. And so she said I dropped the phone. I don't even remember what happened, but I know I felt sick like I was going to pass out. She called 911, and they came, and they took me to the hospital. So I was there. They said, we've been around anyone that tested positive for COVID. I said, yeah, my mom, but I wasn't really around her, you know? So, but we're going to take you for COVID. Take a chest, we'll give you a test for your chest x-ray. And I said, okay. So they came back and they said, well, your chest looks good. You're all good. And send you home some prednisone. And we'll, you know, you should be okay. Just stay, since you've been around somebody, quarantine for 14 days, but your chest x-ray looks good. So I said, okay. So I went home and I told my daughter, I said, hey, you know, they said that I'm going to stay home because I was around Granny for 14 days, and I'm going to stay home and not do anything. So they arranged for my granddaughter to be picked up by my other daughter, and we moved on. I think following it next Wednesday, about 3 or 4 days later, I started feeling bad. And I called the hospital, and they said, well, your test came back that you're positive for COVID. That was Wednesday, the next Wednesday. I was in the hospital on that Sunday. And I said, positive for COVID. I got it from my mom. So I still didn't feel that bad. That Thursday, I started to feel like I couldn't breathe. And my mother was already had oxygen, so I said, Mom, because I was on oxygen before, I need some of your oxygen so I can barely breathe. So my daughter brings me my mom oxygen, and I started using her oxygen. But by that Friday, I really couldn't breathe. And I know I had to give her back her oxygen because she, you know, was trying to deal with COVID. So I called the hospital, and they said, Miss Emma, you need to get to the hospital because it sounds like you're having difficulty breathing. I said, I know I am because I can't breathe. I've already had underhand conditions, but I just need some oxygen. So my mom told me to just keep my oxygen and I'll get it the next day. So I used up all her oxygen. She was only left with the kind that you plug in. I used all the portable tanks up. So by that Saturday, I had called the hospital again because I wanted some oxygen. I said, you guys look at my chart. I've had oxygen before. I just need some oxygen. So they said, ma'am, you sound like you're about to die. You need to get to the hospital. I said, I don't want to go to the hospital. They said, you need to call the paramedics. I'm going to call you back in 3 minutes. And if you don't call the paramedics, we're going to call the paramedics. So I'm like, please. So she calls me back, and I didn't call them. So she said, ma'am, if you don't call the paramedics, you're going to die. So I'm thinking, this is just like, I just can't breathe. I just need some oxygen. So she told me, you're not going to get any oxygen. No one's going to send you oxygen. But if you at least call the paramedics, you'll get some in the ambulance. So I said, okay, get some oxygen. So I called the paramedics, and they got there. They put me in the ambulance, and they gave me oxygen. But when I got to the hospital, they they did an X-ray of my chest again, and they had told me, "You're not going home. You're gonna have to stay. We're gonna have to admit you." This is tea I'm drinking because I can talk a little bit more. He said, "We're gonna have to admit you because if we don't, you're gonna die." And then I'm like, I was just here last week. They said my chest was clear. I'm gonna die 7 days later. Anyway, they admitted me to the hospital. And they said, we need to talk to somebody. So I had my daughter, one of Belize's sisters, a nurse. So I called her and I said, the doctor wants to talk to me. So I want you to listen so you know about to relate what he says to everybody else. So he tells her, he said, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to give her all the medication we can to help her. But there's a possibility that she will not make it. It's a possibility that she will die. She's in a bad state. But the only hope that we have now is that she is on a lower dose of oxygen. He said, but it's a possibility she may not make it. So my daughter, she relayed all this to Belize and his sister, but the only thing I could do then is just pray. And the Lord gave me a song. It was by Tasha Cobbs, and it says, you know my name. Oh, how I walk with you. Oh, how I've talked with you. Oh, how you tell me that I'm your own. And I listened to that song over and over and over again. And it got me through to where I am now. I'm not 100%. But I just refuse to not get back on this channel. And just say thank you. For every prayer that you guys said, pray for me. Thank you. It's gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. I don't use oxygen because I just refuse to be stuck on that all day. So I breathe on my own. And the young lady who had said before, it sounds like she has COVID. Amazingly, that did sound like, it sounds like COVID. The non-breathing and the difficulty breathing. Because that's what it does. It wants to just take away your breathing. And I just don't get that. And because I don't get that, I refuse to just not breathe. I refuse to allow the devil to take away what we had here, what we started here. A lot of things have changed since I last talked to you. I'll tell you about that later. But I want to get this out. My face still looks swole from the prednisone. They gave me so much prednisone. And my face just swelled up. That was the last part of me not wanting to get on here. The devil said, your face is so swole. I'm like, whatever. But thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in about a week or 2 weeks. So we can just move on and past this and let you know that I'm better. I'm better. I'm going to get better. God is good. And he would not have allowed me to get to this place where we are, to just let the devil take me away. And then there'd be a funeral instead of a happy moment. So I love you. Thank you. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you for all the love you guys give Breezy. Thank you so much, and I will see you again. Be good.